Hey guys, this is Kyle Maddock, and you're listening to the news from around Westeros. Okay guys, we're a little more than a week away from the Season 3 premiere of Game of Thrones, and HBO is pulling out all the stops. Things kicked off this past week at a star-studded red carpet Hollywood premiere, and from there on out it's been an avalanche of interviews, discussions, panels, photos, videos, trailers, and anything else you could possibly imagine. And yet, despite all this activity, it seems like there's very little new news to report. Each interview tries their best to pull secrets out of the cast, but no go. These guys are experts at the art of no spoilers. With that said, the most interesting piece of information to come out of this past week is Emilia Clarke is single. Oh man, I am gonna have to brush up on my game. But seriously, the most interesting piece of information I saw come out of this past week was in an IGN interview with George R.R. Martin at the Hollywood premiere, in which he was asked about a possible prequel series to A Game of Thrones. For those of you who don't know, George has already written 3 novellas that take place in the same world as A Game of Thrones, but approximately 100 years before. They revolve around a knight, Dunk, and his squire, Egg. And when George was asked if the Dunk and Egg novellas would become a series, he said,
So maybe that will be what we'll do. We'll see.
That's something that you guys have been talking about in terms of a series.
Yeah.
Okay, but before you get too excited, know that George also mentioned a sci-fi show and 2 histories that he's discussing with HBO. So don't get too carried away. Now, I am a big fan of the novellas, and I'm sure I'd watch them if they made them, but to be perfectly honest, I don't know how well they would translate to the screen. Unlike Game of Thrones, where there's a myriad of characters and there's action happening all the time, Dunk and Egg revolves around 2 characters, and there's nothing really adrenaline pumping in any of the stories until the final act. Now, I'm not saying that a show needs to be action-packed in order to be watchable, but this is like going from Battlestar Galactica to Caprica. Both great shows, don't get me wrong, but one was action-packed and one was canceled. And why have 2 Ice and Fire shows on at the same time? I mean, why not just tell the story of Game of Thrones, let it run its course, do an awesome job, and then pick up the Dunk and Egg novels and tell that story? Why put them on at the same time? So that leads me to my question, guys. How do you feel about the Dunk and Egg novels becoming a prequel series, and do you think it's going to happen? Let me know in the comments below. And finally, the piece of information that I am most excited about from this past week. It comes from the same IGN interview as before, and this is it.
And I have in mind about 9 or 10 more novellas about the adventures of Dunk and Egg.
9 or 10 more Dunk and Egg stories? Yes! Yes! I'm Kyle Maddock, and you've been watching the news from around Westeros.